We need to be 10 members for a quorum, but I have 2 proxies, so I think we'll be fine because we are, I think, 8 online, plus the 2 proxies, then we have 10. So we can continue with the meeting. We'll just start when Apelele put the agenda on for us. Thank you. Thank you, Apelele. Good morning, colleagues. Welcome to our Northern Cape AGM. Sorry for the wait. We are a quorum, so we can start now. I don't know if the office received any apologies. I know the secretary received an apology from Teresa Brink. I don't know if Apelele received any apologies on his side.
No, we haven't received any apology or proxy, Manda.
Okay, thank you, Apelele. I'm going to ask the president to just talk to us. He has to go, so he can't attend the whole meeting. So if it's fine with everybody, if we can quickly confirm the agenda. If there's nothing else that anybody wants to put on the agenda, can we just confirm the agenda, then we can move forward. Is there any indication of anybody that wants to add anything on the agenda? Let's just check the chats. Okay, nice. So if can we move to approve the agenda? Okay, we can. I'll move the agenda. Then if we can just get a seconder, please. Okay, Bernice will second. Then we can adopt the agenda. And under general, I wanted to discuss the restructuring with you, but since the president is here, I'm going to give over to him. Then he can just talk to us a little bit about that before he has to go. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Manda. Thank you for allowing me to hijack your AGM in terms of the order. I'll try not to be too long. It normally takes about 30 minutes to get through all of this, but I'll try to speed it up maybe a little bit. So good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for allowing me to be part of your meeting. I have been trying to attend as many of the AGMs as I can, so that I can talk about restructuring, elections, etc., and then answer any questions and or comments that people might have. So as I said, I'm going to try and be a little bit quicker with this right now. So in terms of restructuring, this is the current structure, as you would all know. It hasn't changed much. It's been the structure we've had since the time we started LIASA. In 2016, there was a motion put forward to restructure, which was accepted, and 7 years later, we're trying to get to the end point, which is partly why I think we are here. So in terms of what the restructuring would look like, it has been proposed by the immediate past president, Nikki Crowster, that the ExCo and RECO is replaced by a board, that the branches and the interest groups would fall away, and that instead of having branches and interest group in structure, we would be governed very much by the board, and we would have sector representation. There is also the proposal to have a secretariat. So in terms of how the actual structure would look, you'd have the membership remaining as the highest authority. You would then have the board making decisions, much like REPCO and EXCO would then have happen. And then you'd have a secretariat, which would encompass the LIASA National Office the way we know it now, and a couple of other portfolios which would fall away from the elected positions and move into the office. I don't spend much time on the secretariat because right now we can't give effect to it the way it's proposed. It requires much more funding that we currently have, but it is a conversation that will happen on the way as we progress in restructuring. So just in terms of the proposal that's being put on the table, and just to create some context for everybody, we're a professional body. Professional body status is given to us by SAQA, the South African Qualifications Authority. It's given to us every 5 years. It was initially given to us in 2014 when we won professional body status. It was renewed in 2019, and it's up for renewal in 2024. In the 5-year periods, there is a mid-year assessment of LIASA as a professional body and whether we meet the requirements as set out by SAQA. And we've just come out of one. So in 2022, towards the end of 2022, SAQA did an assessment of LIASA, and there were a couple of things that they then pointed out that we were not necessarily compliant or that we don't have in place. One of these things is the fact that we don't have a board. So on the screen, you'll see that the whole way in which we are doing restructuring and even the way in which we're functioning now, it's aligned to King IV principles. And Principle 7 of the King IV report recommends that boards should, be there, and this is the kind of expertise and knowledge it should comprise within the board. So SAQA, in its mid-year assessment, noted to the fact that we did not have a board in place, but was willing to accept it in the mid-year assessment because we had a representative council, so there was a governing structure as such. It obviously means that there's something lacking in terms of our governance, and for that reason, we have put on the table what I'm going to discuss with you this afternoon. So if you attended the stakeholders meeting, most of this would be familiar with you. So the board would be elected by the membership. We're proposing that there's a term of office of plus minus 3 years. And therefore, again, this will be something that the AGM would have to approve, but that is what we are proposing. In terms of what we are proposing as well, there is an element of risk to what we are proposing. We did not make this decision lightly. We based it on the circumstances that we found ourselves in. And I want to say upfront that as EXCO, our intention was not to put the association at risk, although there is a risk element attached to it, and I'll get to that again. And I do want to apologize upfront for having put things into that space where there is some risk. So in terms of the board, we're proposing that it comprise of 13 members, that they will cover all of the sectors, and I'll get to the sectors in a moment, that there'll be subcommittees that will work to support the work of the board, and includes things like finance and risk and governance committees. In terms of how our membership currently works, as you would know, you join or you renew and you choose your branch. As part of what you are entitled to, you would then also select 2 interest groups. In the way we proposing moving forward is when you join or renew, you would then select the sector that you are working in. and that will become the basis, for example, of the vote roll, how we tabulate membership, etc., and how it will work within elections as well. In terms of the actual positions on the board, there are elected positions and there are appointed positions. The elected positions would be the president-elect, much like we have in the current structure. We are proposing that there also be the election of 5 sector chairs. The sector chairs would be public libraries, higher education libraries, school libraries, special libraries, as well as LIS education.
Sorry, I don't see the slides moving.
Yeah, that's how I said Apalili. Must just move to the next slide.
It's stuck on slide 6.
Yeah, looks like it, yeah. Apalili, are you able to move it? Okay, while he's trying to get it unfrozen. No, it looks like Apalili is out of the meeting. Sorry about that. So when he comes back, he'll show you what that composition looks like. So okay, Apalili seems to be back. Let's just give him a moment. Okay, there we go. So that's what I was referring to. So the president-elect, the 5 sector chairs, those are all elected positions. As the membership, you would elect them. And as I said, the way we will change the database is you will select the sector that you work in. When you actually nominate and you vote for people, you would nominate for someone to represent you in the public library sector or in the higher education sector, etc. As part of the board as well, there are appointed positions. So the LIASA office manager would be an appointment. And then we are proposing that there be appointed 5 additional members. And these additional members would speak to expertise and skills that we require on the board that isn't currently there. So again, there isn't a set list of expertise and skills that we are looking for right now. But for example, it would look at things like finance, it would look at things like marketing, advocacy, etc. Because in this new structure, we don't have a PRO, for example, that is elected. So again, those are skills that we would look at and we would want to add. In terms of governance substructures, these are some of the governance substructures: the executive committee of the board, the finance, audit and risk committee, nomination committee, the CPE committee, the professional body committee, as well as the community of practice committee. And when we look at things like community of practice, specifically, we would look at things like IGBIS, for example, which is about cataloging and cataloging standards. Again, in the current structure, we haven't necessarily catered for that, but it's an important part of who we are and what we do. And we have flagged that, for example, as a particular aspect that we need to look at in terms of restructuring. So in terms of those governance substructures, the first 3 are board members who occupy those particular substructures. The last 3 that you see on the slide would be people that we would appoint and nominate into those substructures, but they would be headed by a board member. So if you can just move up a little, unless it's frozen again.
Is it on slide 9?
Yeah, it seems to be stuck there. So I need it to be on slide 10. The next one. Okay, so in terms of what is being put on the table, there is a motion that is currently on the website. It's under the AGM documents. I would encourage you to go and read it, but I'm going to put it all into a as much of a nutshell as I can. So we had a meeting with the representative council on the 19th of May. The restructuring process was put to them, as well as the impact on elections. We also have appointed an attorney to look at the changes that needs to happen to the constitution in light of the restructuring model, and that in the current constitution needs to go to the membership 2 months ahead of an AGM. But because of delays that we've had in our discussions with the attorneys, we obviously have not been able to do this. And therefore, because of what I discussed in the beginning in terms of SACWA requirements and what we're trying to put in place in terms of the board, the following is what we then putting in onto the table for AGM to consider next week as a motion. So in the AGM next week, we are going to propose that so AGM is scheduled for the 12th of October. And in this, we're going to propose that there be an adjournment of part of the AGM. That particular part of the AGM will relate to constitutional matters and constitutional changes, specifically related to restructuring. We are wanting to propose that it be adjourned to the 28th of February 2024, and this allowance is made for us to do this in our current constitution under Rule 3.9. It would then allow us time to communicate the changes to our members and for them to engage with it, for us to have feedback sessions with the membership around what we are proposing in terms of these changes. Because of what we are proposing here, we also in this motion proposing that the 2023 elections that would have happened would be postponed both at a national and a branch level, but also at an interest group level. Furthermore, if this is accepted by the membership, we are then proposing that there is an interim council that comes into place. This interim council will look at completing the restructuring process. What we are proposing in terms of this interim council is that the current ExCo, the elected position, so we're talking about the president-elect, the treasurer, the secretary, the PRO, remains in place to complete restructuring. But added to those 5 positions, we are proposing that the current representative council, that 5 members be part of this interim council, no more than 5. We also putting into this motion that there be 5 ordinary LIASA members be nominated to be part of the structure. And they will then become the interim council, and they will then prepare for, firstly, the adjourned portion of the AGM. So in terms of the representative council members that we're going to put forward for this particular structure, we are then aiming to have this discussion at the Rep Council meeting on Monday, to have names proposed and for those names to be put forward. In terms of the ordinary members, this needs to happen in the days following the AGM, because we don't have a lot of time to do that. I will be trying to have further discussions with Leila Vaid, who has been our electoral officer in the past, has the knowledge about the constitution and the legalities around certain things, about how to do some of these things. So part of what I'm discussing with you now are things that have also come from other AGMs that I have attended. And as people have been asking questions, I've been taking those things on board as well. So part of what this interim council will then do is they will ensure that the proposed constitutional changes is tabled for the adjourned portion of the meeting. At this adjourned portion of the AGM, if it is adopted by the membership, we will then have the constitutional changes take effect. It would mean that the new structure has been adopted in principle, that the interim council will then set a date for a special general meeting. And at that special general meeting, the new structure will actually come into place and the interim council will dissolve. The interim council will conduct elections for the office bearers, as I outlined in terms of the board structure, and they will then take up their positions at the end of the special general meeting. The special general meeting will also not be held later than 3 months after the adjourned portion of the AGM. So that meeting is what we are proposing for the 28th of February, and the SGM we then will propose that must happen no later than 28th May. As I said, there is a risk to what we have proposed. The risk is that if the membership does not agree to this, it means that LIASA, in a sense, comes to the end of its existence. That's the extreme repercussion of what we're putting on the table. And again, I think as the president, as speaking on behalf of EXCO, I do want to make my apologies to the membership that, again, our intention was never to put the association at risk. And for that, we do apologize. But we also think that it is important that we drive this process to its natural conclusion. I'm also not saying that the structure that we are proposing, that we're wanting to put in place, is going to be perfect from day one. Again, it's something that we've got to work towards in making happen. I do also want to say that part of my discussions with Leila moving forward is to also interrogate as far as possible the constitution as it currently is, to look at, is there a way to get around that really most extreme outcome if the membership does not say yes? And to look at what are the other possibilities. So currently the motion as it is written up on the website is what is going forward to the AGM. It does not mean that something cannot be amended in that. There can be a counter proposal from the floor. And obviously all of these things would have to be, first of all, accepted by people attending the AGM. And once they have accepted, we would then have to vote whether we accept any changes to the motion that is on the table. From where I'm sitting now, I can foresee that there needs to be some changes to the motion based on the discussions I've had in some of the AGMs I've attended today. I do also want to say that we do need to look at as many people attending this AGM. It is of vital importance. I'm sure that you'll understand from what I've told you. So if you are not able to attend the AGM in person, we will be sending out a communication to every member, every active member, to indicate that you would be able to attend it virtually. Because this is a hybrid conference, this would be something that we could give effect to. There will be a link in the email, and that link will allow you access to the AGM. Remember, even if you don't attend conference, AGM is part of your rights as a member. We have to have an AGM. You, as a member, you have the right to attend the AGM. So I would encourage all of you to attend the AGM, whether it is virtually or in person. If you are not able to attend, please make sure that someone has your proxy. So like Manda indicated at the beginning, not everybody's here, but she's got 2 proxies, for example. So the same thing happens with the national AGM. If you can't attend, you provide someone with proxy, you give the person the instruction of what you want them to do, or you give them the proxy and they can vote on your behalf. But it is really important, and I think we're at a critical point where we need everybody to engage around this. Before the question gets asked, let me also say that in terms of interest groups and branches, again, it's a conversation I need to have with Leila to look at all the possibilities. But from the Western Cape AGM that I attended this morning, in essence, after this AGM of next week, branches and interest groups, if this motion is accepted the way it is, would not exist. There would be no legal standing for them, so to speak. In the original motion we wrote, our proposal was for the current Rep Council to remain as well, with the incoming chairs being there. The motion has changed, and I do want to publicly acknowledge the contribution of Nikki Krauster, Alan Tyson, Leila Vaid in that regard. But again, as I say, there can be counter proposals from the floor on the day if the membership is not happy with the motion the way it is written. But again, I think what we're trying to get to is a space where we can all walk away from this. We would still have a LIASA, and we put something in place that will work for us towards putting restructuring to bed, creating that new structure, putting it in place, and from there on building a stronger association. And on that point, I'm going to end and say thank you very much. If there are any questions, any comments, you are welcome through the chair to pose that to me now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President. Is there any questions? Anybody that wants to ask something?
Yes.
Yes,
Good
Kagiso.
afternoon, colleagues. Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, President. I just wanted to find out, I think on slide number 10 or 11, I can't remember, where you were speaking about the ordinary members to make an addition. Is there any form of criteria to be used for people to qualify to say maybe they want to volunteer, or is there going to be a nomination for the people to make up those 5 ordinary members?
Thanks. So, yeah, is that people would be nominated, but you somewhere in the discussion. So what
Sorry, President Nazim, your sound went
is it?
away.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
It's better now, yeah.
Okay, so on the question that Kagiso asked, yes, it would be a nomination process that would follow. So people can nominate people to be part of that ordinary member component of the interim council. What we ideally would want to look for is someone who understands constitutions, someone who understands possibly LIASA, understands the structure of LIASA, how it functions, and I think very importantly, we would want someone to have the support of the institution that they work for, because this will require, while it's a very short period of time, it will require the person to really be there to be able to drive certain things. But really, I think what we're looking for is that kind of knowledge of constitutions, LIASA, the LIASA structure, where we came from, where we're wanting to be. And I think we don't have much other things that we want to dictate around it. But it's a good point you're raising. It was asked in one of the other AGMs. And certainly, I think once we, like someone said in a previous AGM, we're going there with positive thoughts. So on a positive note, we're going there in the hope that, yes, people are going to approve this. And I think once that is approved, we would then send out a communication to the membership outlining exactly what we're looking for. And certainly, that when a person is nominated, that those particular skills that we're looking for will be highlighted of that particular person. So it's not just, anybody just sticking up their hand and you don't necessarily have that kind of background, because I think we don't have the time or the luxury to get somebody up to speed around those things. One of the questions that was asked at the stakeholders meeting was whether we think this is enough time to do all of this. I will be honest and say I can't tell you 100% that we can do it in a short space of time, but that's certainly what we are aiming to do. And we will do everything that we have to in order to deliver by the end of May and the end of February. And also that I think the process is far enough along for us to at least try and do this. It will require a lot of engagement. It will require a lot of feedback from the membership. The idea is also that there will be constant feedback and communication to the members, so that everybody is basically up to speed with where we are, what is happening, as the changes happen, to be able to tell the membership. And certainly be open to everybody also emailing us their comments, their questions, etc., to be able to respond to that. And we're hoping that through that kind of robust engagement that we will be able to get through that timeline, which is, I think, a really ambitious timeline, but to be able to get through that and be able to say at the end of it, here it is, for better or for worse, this is restructuring. We've managed to get through the process, and here it is, the new structure. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, if there's no more questions, I don't see anything in the chat. Then I just want to thank the president for joining us, and thank you very much. And yeah, let's hope everybody accept the new proposal. And yeah, thank you for your time.
And I just said note, I know it's a lot to take in. And if there's anything to think about afterwards that you would like to ask, please send an email. If you want to, you can send it via Manda or via the office or directly to me or the president-elect or anybody else on the EXCO. And certainly we will try and respond to you. And I think the more people actually engage and comment, I think the better the process will be. So thank you very much. And thank you for having me this afternoon. And thank you for allowing me to hijack your meeting, Amanda.
That's a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Okay, thank you, colleagues. Apelele, if you can put the agenda up again, please. Okay, thank you. We did do apologies in attendance. Determination, we did determine that we are more than 10 members with the proxies. So we have a quorum. We did confirm the agenda, so we can go over to point 5, personalia. Is there any personalia from anybody's side, from any member that want to give anything or say anything? Bernice?
Chair, we just want to welcome Kagiso Lidwaba to the branch. He was recently appointed at the Soplagi University. So Kagiso, again, welcome. Although you have attended many other branch activities, but just for the sake of our meeting, Kagiso joined us recently. Kagiso, I'm not sure what date that was for the minutes. If you can just put it in the chat.
It was December 2022.
Thank you very much. We have a resignation. Mr. Gift Kasani Siimela resigned at the end of September to take a new position at the University of the West. Am I right, Kagiso? I think that is Ishe, that's where he took a new position.
Yes, Northwest University in
Northwest,
Mafeking, yes.
Oh, and then also Amanda Houg, our current chair, is the Librarian of the Year for 2023. So we just want to add that also under personnel, yeah. She's almost at the end of her term.
Thank you, Bernice. Is there any other personalia from the floor? See anything in the chat, then we can move on. We can move over to approval of the minutes of our previous AGM that was held on 27 September 2022. Apelele, will you be able to put the minutes up?
Yes.
Thank you, Apelele. I don't know if you went through the minutes. It was circulated and it was uploaded. We can just scroll page 1. You can just indicate if there is anybody that sees anything that wants to amend or comment. Okay, we can move on. think it was a long meeting, a long AGM last year. We spoke about membership and the challenges we have. We can move on. Branch activities. Is a library, Librarians Day. Mandela Day. And the Rep Council feedback. We spoke about the LIASA conference. Okay, that was the minutes of our previous meeting held in 2022. Okay, can I ask anybody that attended the meeting to adopt the minutes if there's no corrections? Bernice, will you adopt the minutes? You attended the
Yes,
meeting
yes,
last year.
Chair. And if Connie or Zuni can also assist with the adoption.
Can we get a seconder?
Yes, we can move the minutes.
Thank you. Bernice just pointed out to me that we forgot about under Personalia about Dr. Gizwina that also relocated to another university. So he was also a valuable member of LIASA Northern Cape. So we wish him well in his new position also. Matters arising, we can move on to matters arising from the minutes. I think under matters arising, we did manage to do the book donation drive that we spoke about. We did Librarians Day and Mandela Day. We didn't manage to do the other activities that we put out. I think we wanted to do a few training sessions also, but I think we were over eager last year with everything. We did, however, had a copyright session that was held at UNISA's offices in the North Cape Mall. It was facilitated by Denise Nicholson. She did a workshop, 2-hour workshop on copyright, and a few of our members did attend that. So we did manage to do the copyright. But the other training sessions we didn't come to that. I don't know if there's anything else arising from the minutes. Yeah, we didn't get to the seminar, but we did the book launch, we did Mandela Day, Librarians Day, and then if on the staff development under number 3, we did the copyright workshop. And yeah, the other stuff we didn't get to. If we move out on point 4 on the minutes, we spoke about DSAC Northern Cape and the copyright infringements that we talked about. It was escalated to the national office, to the EXCO, and they did indicate that they would write a memo to DSAC Northern Cape just to inform them that they are aware and that we are not, LIASA is not condoning infringement of copyright. So that did happen. Yeah. I think that's the only things out of the minutes. Is there anything from the members that wants to comment anything? If there is not anything else arising from the minutes, then we can move over to the chairperson's report. I'll share my screen. Apelele, if you can just check for me the chat, because if I share my screen, then I can't see the other stuff. I'll put my presentation on. Sorry, I just had to unmute. Can you see my screen? Can somebody just indicate if you're able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. On Personalia, I had Mr. Simela's son that was born, so we can put that also under Personalia. His son was born in March, and also the relocation of Mr. Simela, and Bernice added the other stuff to Personalia. Then if we move over to branch executive committee, since our last AGM in September 2022, 2 positions became vacant, and Mr. Simela moved into the chair-elect position and Bernice moved into secretary. Since then, Mr. Simela left us at the end of September. So at the moment, there's no chair-elect. So it's just the chairperson and the secretary. No elections were held due to restructuring, as the president just explained to everybody. So at the moment, we just have to see what will happen at the AGM. So if we move over to membership, as I indicated last year, Northern Cape is the biggest province and we have the lowest membership. The majority of our members are from public libraries and the Department of Arts and Culture. Since the university has staff members, we have now also members from the was implemented all over the municipalities. And according to that staff regulations, every person working in a library have to have LIASA membership. So hopefully that will boost us a little bit. Good news is that we, last year, this time we had 15 members, and in 2023, we now have 22 members. So it's almost double growth. So that is a good improvement since last year. If we move over to branch activities, on 22 March, we had our Library Week launch at Salt Lake University Library. It was a hybrid event. Our guest speakers was Denise Nicholson, who talked on copyright and the Copyright Amendment Bill, and Mr. Jeff Nyoka, the e-learning manager of City of Johannesburg Library, spoke about 4IR and digital literacy. Other speakers were from the Department of the Library Services Northern Cape, and myself spoke about my library journey as Librarian of the Year. And then we also have other members that talked about their powerful library stories that they shared with us. Bernice Nagel from Afrikaner Library, Desireen Fourie from Bigginsfield Library. We had Onkarabetse April from SPU, and also Mr. Nampala from Correctional Services that shared their library stories. That was all the members that attended the Library Week launch. Then we had our Librarians Day, Mandela Day combined event during June and July. We had a very successful book donation drive for Kunkweza Combined School in Platfontein. I want to thank all members that helped with this and gave their time, and everybody that donated books. We received books from all the public libraries, the Soplike University, and I especially want to thank Teresa Brink for helping and sorting out the books, and Mr. Simela, Mr. Ledwaba, and that helped on the 17th of July. We went to the school to clean the storeroom and sort all the books, and everybody that went with on the 18th of July for the handover event. Thank you very much to everybody. I think we had a very, very successful book donation drive. And the secretary also sent an article for the LIT about that. There is a few pictures of the event. Then under marketing and advocacy, I had a radio interview on Radio Timaneng on 10 July on Librarians Day. I spoke on Librarians Day and also on the Librarian of the Year Award. And then we had the representative council meeting on 19 and 20 May in Johannesburg, where we mostly spoke about the restructuring, as the president explained, and we also gave a little farewell to Anne-Marie and Kagiso from LIASA's side. That photo there, you see Anne-Marie and Kagiso is smiling on that photo. They said when they were in the LIASA office, they always had stationery and notebooks and pens, and now when they work now for the government, like we work for other departments, books and stationery, so the president gave them both a little notebook and pen to take with. As a token, our LIASA conference this year will be next week from 10 to 13 October in the Western Cape in Somerset West at the Lord Charles Hotel. It will be a hybrid event like last year, so you can attend virtual. You can still register for day events or daily attendance, and the theme is Libraries Writing the Next Chapter. And that is the end of my report. Thank you. Is there any questions?
Not from my side, Chair.
Any questions from anybody else?
Nothing from me. Thanks for the report, Manda.
Okay, I hope I didn't leave out anything. You can just indicate, but I don't.
Connie.
Yes, Connie.
Afternoon, colleagues. Thank you. Thank you, Manda, for that report. Under Personalia, I heard you were welcoming Kagiso. I don't know if you did previously welcome Sina because they joined on the same day. They joined SPU on the same day. Sina Mulokisi. I see she's
Thank
on the
you,
meeting.
Connie.
Yes, thank you for that, Connie.
Yes, I actually just had a conversation with her via email. Welcome,
Oh, yeah.
Sina. I thought you were there before, Kagiso, but welcome to the branch. Sorry about that.
Yes, and we hope you enjoy it in Kimberley. Thank you for that, Connie.
Okay. Also, I'd like the branch to know that Dr. Sabelo, Hassan and I have submitted abstract on LIASA and it was approved. So I will be presenting on the behalf of the three of us in the Cape town. So I just wanted to pass this message through to the branch also, so that you're not amazed to see my name on the draft program. Then I didn't say anything here.
No, that's good news. Thank you
Yeah,
for that. It's going to be very...
Congratulations. Connie, can you just repeat it was you and Dr. Chiswina?
Yes, it's a core paper that we started to do last in 2022 about sharing our experiences in doing the library orientation, take it online. So basically, we'll be sharing the experiences of doing that. If then we are approved, we'll come back and do the study and report and publish a paper. But for now, it's just to present the abstract.
Okay, so it's you, Connie, and Dr. Chiswina, and was a third person?
Is Hassan Yemela gift?
Oh, gift.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
All
Thank you
right,
very
then.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
Anything else? Anybody else? Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, we can move on to the next point on the agenda. I just want to amend my screen here. Did I stop sharing? Apelele, can you put the agenda on again, please? Can you see the agenda, colleagues, because my screen freezed?
No.
Is Apelele still online? There's Apelele. He's muted.
We can't see anything, Manda.
Okay, let me try and share it quickly. Can you see it now?
Apalele's screen is on.
Colleagues,
Thank you, Apalele.
can you just indicate if you can see the agenda?
Yes, we can see it, Manda.
Okay, thank you. We can move over to the financial report. As you remember, last year at AGM, we spoke about the bank documents that was still froze at the bank because of the giving over to the new committee, and we had to fix all the documents, and it was a huge problem, but we did manage to get it done. The three of us, the BEC members, did visit the branch. We did sign all the documents, so it was finalized, and there was they gave us a statement of I think 5,000 rand, something like that, that's left in our bank account, and that funds will be moved over to the national account, and then the account will be closed. The only expenses that we had this year was for the library week launch, for the tea and the snacks we had. So it was about 1,000 rand, and that was paid out of the cash on hand that we had. But yeah, that is the eventually we finalized the banking documents, so that will be finalized, and the remaining of the funds will be paid over to the national account. Any questions?
Chair.
Okay, if there's no questions from the floor, I can't see the chat. Let me just check if I can see. There's nothing in the chat. Okay, then we can move over. We can move over to general. Under general, we were supposed to discuss the restructuring, but it was already done by the president. So if there is nobody that has any questions about the restructuring, or I think everything was covered by Mr. Hardy, I can just give you the I think I must just show you the motion that will go to conference about the restructuring. Apalele, I'll put the motion on, and then you can stop sharing. Motion.
Is it the AGM of next week, Chair?
Yes. I just want to go to my screen. Yeah, it is. Are you able to see it? Can somebody indicate?
Yes, Manda, I can see your screen.
Okay. The motion put forward from the EXCO is the following. We, the Executive Committee of LIASA, present a motion to adjourn a portion of the AGM of 12 October 2023 to deliberate the agenda items dealing with constitutional changes and elections. The basis for this motion is that due to factors beyond our control, we were not able to provide the AGM with the proposed changes to the Constitution within the stipulated time frame. The ideal was that the changes to the Constitution was supposed to be discussed at next week's AGM, and then we would have moved forward. But now we're going to just adjourn that portion of the AGM to 28 February, as Nazim indicated. Such an adjournment is permissible in terms of Rule 3. We propose as follows, that the adjourned portion of the AGM be held on 28 February 2024, that the 23 elections for any positions at national branch or interest group level also be postponed, that the current elected office bearers, it's the 5 EXCO members, together with up to additional 5 of REPCO, plus a maximum of 5 ordinary members, shall form an interim council. And as Nazim indicated, they must be competent about restructuring and stuff like that. The interim council will then prepare for the AGM, the adjourned portion that will be held on 28 February. In that time, the proposed constitutional changes will be sent to all members 2 months before that meeting, and that the adjourned portion of the AGM and the adoption of the constitutional changes will then be done at a special general meeting that will be held, and the interim council will conduct then at the special general meeting. The election will take place or online, and then after the special general meeting, then the new council will come into effect. So that is the motion. Just to show you the motion that will go to conference. So that is under general. If there is no other comments or questions from the members, then we can adjourn the AGM. Can I just ask, if there's no questions or comments, can everybody maybe just put on their videos just for a photo for the attendance, please? Then if Apelele can just take a photo for us if everybody's cameras are on. Where's the other people?
Hello, Jones.
Is Annelies
Sina?
there?
I can't
Is
switch
Annelies
on
still
the
on?
Julie and
camera.
Connie.
I can't switch on the
Why?
camera. Sorry, guys. I have no
Why?
idea what is happening here. I'm
Okay.
trying. Yes.
Okay. And Sina and Connie, Zuni, Vida.
Annelies, can you ask Vida to also switch on?
Video's quickly out.
Is Zuni still on?
Hi,
Colleagues,
Connie.
I can't see.
Hi,
Am I there?
Apelele. Kagiso.
Okay.
Okay,
Is Sina still
I
on?
can't see. Can you see me?
Yes, we
Yes,
see
I can
you.
see you.
Oh, I can't see. Okay, all right.
Okay, there is Sina.
Okay.
There's Sina. Hello, Sina.
Okay.
Oh,
Apelele, I
yeah.
think that's everybody. Vida's out for the moment. Then did you get it?
Must you
Okay.
smile? Oh, okay,
Thank
it's
you.
over.
Okay.
Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you, Apelele, for all the technical
Yes.
help. And that's the end of our meeting. Thank you, colleagues, and I hope I see a few of you next week at the conference.